No glucosamine chews, no prescription anti-inflammatories, no $300 joint supplement subscription. Just a liquid that costs $2. Farmers have kept working dogs mobile and pain-free with it for over a century. And the $4.2 billion pet joint supplement industry has exactly one reason you have never heard about it. I'm going to give you that reason, and then I'm going to show you exactly what to do tonight. If your dog has started hesitating at the bottom of the stairs, if they used to leap onto the couch and now they just stand next to it and look at you, if the first 20 minutes of the morning are the worst part of their day, you are watching joint inflammation in progress. And you have probably already spent money on it. The glucosamine chews, the fish oil capsules, the vet-branded mobility supplement at $89 a bottle. Maybe the prescription anti-inflammatory that costs $60 a month and requires a blood panel every 6 months to make sure it isn't damaging your dog's liver. Here is what none of those products will tell you on the label. The active mechanism behind joint inflammation in dogs is not a missing nutrient. It is pH chemistry. Specifically, it is an excess of uric acid crystals that form in and around the synovial fluid, the liquid cushion inside your dog's joints. When that fluid becomes acidic, the crystals form. When the crystals form, the cartilage degrades. When the cartilage degrades, bone contacts bone, and what you are watching from across the room is the result. The liquid that addresses this costs $2 for enough to last 3 months. It is raw apple cider vinegar, unfiltered. With what is labeled on the bottle as the mother, the strand of proteins and beneficial bacteria that make the acetic acid bioavailable. In a moment, I am going to show you exactly how to use it, in what quantities, for which dogs, and why the application matters as much as the ingredient. But first, I want to show you where this knowledge came from, because it did not come from a lab. It came from the people who kept animals alive and working, long before the pet supplement aisle existed. Go back to working farm communities before the 1970s. Before the commercial pet care industry existed in its current form, before Petco and Chewy and subscription supplement boxes, rural families kept dogs that worked. Herding dogs, hunting dogs, farm dogs who covered 10 miles of rough terrain a day for years. Those dogs got old, their joints got stiff, and the families who kept them did not have a $300 supplement budget. What they had was a pantry and decades of direct observation about what worked. Raw apple cider vinegar was a staple of livestock care across farming communities throughout the American Midwest and Southeast, going back well into the early 1900s. Agricultural extension publications from the 1930s and 1940s document its use in maintaining joint mobility in working horses and cattle. The same animals, the same joint architecture, the same inflammatory mechanism. The practice carried over to farm dogs because the results were observable. Dogs given a small amount of diluted ACV in their water showed measurably less joint stiffness in cold morning hours. They stayed working longer. The farmers noticed and kept doing it. This was not folklore. This was empirical observation over generations, across independent farming communities who had no contact with each other and arrived at the same conclusion. Then the chemistry caught up with the observation. In 2012, research published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry documented the specific mechanism. Acetic acid, the active compound in apple cider vinegar, inhibits the enzymes responsible for uric acid formation. Less uric acid means fewer crystals. Fewer crystals means less synovial inflammation. Less inflammation means the cartilage is protected from the degradation that causes chronic joint pain. The farmers did not know the word acetic acid. They knew their dogs moved better. The mechanism is the same either way. And if you want an institutional anchor, the kind that makes the supplement industry uncomfortable to mention, the United States Department of Agriculture's research into acetic acid as an anti-inflammatory agent in livestock dates to the 1950s. The information has been available in agricultural research literature for decades. This was known. It was simply never put on a label and sold for $89 a bottle. If what I'm showing you is already changing how you look at the $300 joint supplement market, subscribe before we go further. There are 30 years of this pattern across every category of pet care, and I am going to take you through every one of them. Let me show you the math. The pet joint supplement market in the United States is currently valued at $4.2 billion. That number grows by approximately 8% every year. The primary product in that market is glucosamine, usually glucosamine hydrochloride, sometimes combined with chondroitin, sometimes with MSM, usually in a flavored, chewable form your dog thinks is a treat. A 120-count supply of a mid-tier glucosamine chew for a large dog costs between $55 and $90, depending on where you buy it. A month's supply at the recommended dose runs $28 to $45. Annually, you are spending between $330 and $540. Here is what glucosamine actually does in the body. It is a precursor to glycosaminoglycans, the structural compounds that help maintain cartilage. It does not reduce existing inflammation. It does not address the uric acid chemistry that is already degrading the joint. It supports new cartilage synthesis, which is valuable. But it does not touch the inflammatory mechanism that is causing your dog pain right now. Acetic acid does. And a 32-ounce bottle of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, enough to last a 60-pound dog 3 full months at the correct daily dose, costs between $5 and $7 at any grocery store in the country. Per day, that is less than 8 cents. Now run that math against $540 a year. The supplement industry cannot build a $4.2 billion market on an ingredient that costs 8 cents a day and comes in a bottle anyone can buy at the grocery store. You cannot trademark acetic acid. You cannot file a patent on fermentation. You cannot create a subscription model around something that works permanently and costs nothing. A solution this cheap, this accessible, and this effective is not a product. It is a problem. That is why it is not on any label. That is why no supplement company's marketing budget includes it. That is why the vet handing you the $89 bottle is not being dishonest. They are simply operating inside an information environment where this category of solution was never included. The farmers who used it for a century did not have a marketing department. They knew it worked. They kept using it. They told their neighbors. And somewhere around the mid-1970s, when the commercial pet product industry started growing fast enough to crowd out that kind of knowledge, the information just stopped moving. You are watching that correction happen right now. What I have shown you so far is one ingredient, one mechanism, one market. The pattern repeats across every category of pet care your vet hands you an invoice for. The $180 dental cleaning, the $65 ear infection treatment, the $45 monthly flea subscription. Every single one of these has a version that costs under $2, works by the same or better mechanism, and has been documented in agricultural and homestead communities for decades before the commercial product existed. I have been building a library of these. Not a list. A library. With the chemistry explained, the safety verification done, the dosing confirmed by species and weight, and the exact source for where to buy each ingredient for the lowest current price. If your dog is managing a joint condition right now and you want the full picture, not just the ACV protocol, but the anti-inflammatory dietary additions that compound the effect, the specific application methods by dog size and age, and the timeline for what to expect in the first 30 days, that is what the library covers. The link is below. Everything in it costs less than 1 month of the supplement you are probably already buying. Now let me show you exactly how to do this tonight. The method is 3 steps. I am going to give you the species caveat first because it matters. This protocol is for dogs only in the doses I am about to describe. Cats metabolize acetic acid differently and require a much lower concentration with strict application limits. I will cover the cat version in a separate video. If you have a cat with joint stiffness, do not apply today's doses to your cat. For dogs, the application is internal, added to drinking water or food, not topical. Do not apply undiluted ACV directly to your dog's skin or coat. Step 1. Choose the right product. You need raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar with the mother. The mother is the cloudy strand of proteins and bacteria visible at the bottom of the bottle. It is not a defect. It is the part that makes the acetic acid bioavailable rather than inert. Bragg's Organic is the most widely available. Any raw, unfiltered ACV with the mother visible on the label qualifies. Do not use distilled white vinegar. Do not use filtered ACV marketed as clear. The filtration removes the compounds that allow the acetic acid to work in the digestive system. Cost: $5 to $7 for 32 ounces at any grocery store. That is your 3-month supply. Step 2. Dose by weight. Small dogs under 20 pounds. 1 teaspoon per day, added to food or water. Medium dogs 20 to 50 pounds. 1 tablespoon per day. Large dogs 50 pounds and above. 2 tablespoons per day. Introduce it gradually. Start at half the dose for the first 5 days. Some dogs resist the smell initially. Adding it to wet food rather than water masks the scent almost entirely. Do not exceed the dose for your dog's weight. More is not more effective, and excess acidity can cause digestive upset at high concentrations. If your dog has a history of kidney disease or is currently on an NSAID prescription from your vet, confirm with your vet before starting. This is one of the few areas where the conventional advice and the cheap solution intersect at a real biological checkpoint. Step 3. Consistency and timeline. Daily, not occasionally. The mechanism works through consistent acidity regulation of the gut environment, which in turn reduces systemic inflammatory markers, including those affecting the joints. This is not an acute treatment. It is a daily maintenance protocol. Most dog owners with arthritic or joint-stiff dogs report visible changes in mobility, specifically morning stiffness and stare hesitation, within 14 to 21 days of consistent daily use. A 78-year-old woman named Margaret outside Knoxville, Tennessee, has kept working border collies for 4 decades. Her oldest dog is currently 11 years old and covers the same morning acreage he covered at 6. She has never bought a glucosamine chew. She has been adding a tablespoon of ACV to her dog's water since she learned it from her father, who learned it from his. She does not think of it as a remedy. She thinks of it as maintenance. The same way you change oil before the engine fails, not after. That is the right frame. Your dog's joints are not broken, they are inflamed. The inflammation is addressable. The solution is $2. It is at the grocery store, and you can start it today. This is not just a joint pain story. What you have just watched is the same story that plays out across every category where an industry's revenue model depends on a problem that a $2 solution could address permanently. The pet supplement industry is $4.2 billion because the cheap alternative was never marketed. Not because it does not work. Because there is no margin in something that works permanently and costs 8 cents a day. Next week, I am going to show you the exact same pattern playing out inside the pet dental industry. A $180 cleaning that a $1.20 compound has been replacing in farm and rural communities for 60 years. Same math, same suppression mechanism, different product category. If you are the kind of person who finds this useful, the subscribe button means you see that video when it posts, instead of finding it 2 years from now in someone else's comments section. And if you have a friend with a dog who is slowing down, who is watching their animal hesitate at the stairs and thinking it is just age, send this to them. It is not just age, and the fix costs $2.